And that was the aftermath of my body removing this IUD, right? And so I was kind of scared. I was like, what the hell? Got into the doctor. The doctor's like, oh, it's normal. It happens. The doctor starts telling me they didn't do a sonogram or, ultrasound. Then they just told me to think about surgery because it was getting so big. They were like, you know what? You're at a point, think about surgery. So I actually had to think about surgery, and I was thinking about getting my uterus removed. And I was just like, you know what? I don't want to go through this stuff no more. Maybe I just take it all out and be done with it. So I made an appointment to go back in. And when I went back in, the sonogram lady who's been doing my sonograms the whole time since 2013, same lady, she called me back in to redo the ultrasound. And I was like, is something wrong? And she was like, it's changed, but in a good way. And I'm looking at, because she was freaking me out. I'm like, what do you mean? So I get in there with the doctor, and the doctor's like, she looks at me and she's just like, you're like this miracle person. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, because it had got up to about 11 centimeters. Now just think of a tumor at 11 centimeters. That's pretty big on your uterus, right? A lot of pain, a lot of issues. So when after all of that of my body pushing out that IUD and healing itself, my uterus actually cut off the blood supply to the tumor. When I went back, it was about 5 centimeters.
Oh,
And
wow.
she looked at me like I was crazy, like, I've never seen this happen. And she's a younger doctor. She's about my age. She's, around my same age. But she was just like, I've never seen this. She was like, this doesn't really happen. And this is before my spiritual career. This is before I jumped into spirituality. But it tells you that when your body, when you got to heal, when you're going through healing, and sometimes we're healing on a level that we don't even understand. We don't even understand how the body does shit. But I think sometimes we have to like take that step back and kind of see things a little bit differently. Even me, I was like, I was about to get surgery. You know what I mean? Like I was
Mhm.
about to go get everything taken out. And then when I went to see the surgeon, he was like, I don't even recommend getting something taken out at 5 centimeters. He was like, no. And at the time, he was like, if you have any thoughts in your mind, because I was like, I'm a grandmother, I don't want kids or anything like that. He was like, if you have
Yeah.
any thoughts in your mind that you may want kids, he was like, don't get it removed. You're okay. And I was just thinking to myself, like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what? It was the craziest experience from 2017 to 2018 with that.
And I think too, I think people get extreme with things. So they either think that just praying and hoping and clearing this stuff. I think people need to find that balance. Like spirit always talks about balance, right? So we are on a physical world, right? And in some way, shape, or form, I do definitely believe in science because science is what's taught us about energy, matter, things like that. So of course, you do the right thing by you go in and you get checked out, but some people won't see a doctor at all. They're like,
Right.
no, I'm not. I'm not. This is, I'm just going to put it in the hands of, or I'm going to do this. Or some people will go to the doctor and take a medicine for every ache and pain, and
Right.
there's that balance to where you do have to balance yourself and your life um, without overdoing it. But you also have to learn how to balance yourself and your life without feeling like, you just leave it up to the universe and then
Right.
you find out
Right.
there's something that you actually needed help with or that they could have helped you with. I do like Brenda's though when she said she had did this, found 2 decks of beautiful today's prayer tarot cards. I like that because even though prayers are prayers, right, and they're from the Bible, what's the
Hmm.
difference between some of these things and affirmations? They're there to make you feel better. They're there to give you some kind of hope. So I
Right.
really think that's, if that's what you were looking for and that's what you found, I love that.
So Ellie, yes, I do have a crystal for sacral chakras. I'm gonna just say real quick, sodalite is one of the biggest ones that I will always recommend when you're doing sacral chakra. That's what I started with in 2019, just to kind of finish up some things that I was going through far as my body now, I haven't had no problems. I put the Mirena back in, just so you guys know. I did go back in 2018 and I re-put in the Mirena just because I wanted to make sure that whatever I was doing my part. Even though my body, like I said, I've always been a child to self soothe. Okay. I wasn't nurtured. So through my life, I was a self soother. So my body knows how to take care of itself. And I trust
Mhm.
that. When I'm sick, I just let myself go through it. I don't run to the doctor. I don't get antibiotics. I don't get medicine. If I go to the doctor, you know shit is wrong with me. Like I really feel like I need to get checked because I will not go. I will deal with it. That's why I sat with cramps for 3 fucking days and dealt with that shit. My pain tolerance is high. I know how to soothe. I know how to soothe my body into the way to where we could deal with it. Even when I was in labor, like all the nurses, both times were just like, we can't even see, like, how are you just dealing with these cramps, and they would see it on the machine because on the machine is monitoring your cramp, your contractions. And they would see it are you feeling that? And I'm just chilling, I'm just chilling. But I think we have to get more into that of taking care of ourselves and allowing our body to do its job because it can, our mindset in our physical body, it really can. Um, you've had chronic UTI since you had
Yeah.
Mirena. I actually haven't had no more problems with the Mirena, but everyone is different. Everyone's experience is different. I
Mhm.
just told you what happened when I first got it in, which was with the crazy. I was actually scared to get it in again because putting in the Mirena, you have to do a biopsy before they cut a piece of your cervix
Mhm.
to fucking put it in. It's not the easiest and pleasant experience, right?
There is though too, like Elle, I think like people I've seen number one, I've seen something happen that I'll share in just a moment. But going to the doctor and getting a regular checkup isn't the worst thing in the world, right?
No,
Waiting until you can no longer take it anymore, I get it. I don't go to the doctor either. But if I feel like there's something really wrong that I can't explain, I'm definitely gonna go. You know what I mean?
right,
Um, so getting those, like there's people who won't even get a checkup. And then
right,
they're sick as shit. And then they're going downhill. And then they find out that they're in like stage 4 cancer or blah, 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 blah. All because
right,
they didn't get something checked out. Or you have women who feel a lump on their breast and they're like, nope, I'm just going to do this natural stuff and hope it goes away. And yes, hopefully it does. But if you're not
right,
even bothering to get yourself checked,
right.
how do you even know what to do? But I do know a story of a family that um, was religious in their own way. I don't remember what they practiced. I was little. She was a friend of mine. They had a little girl who was a friend of mine, and they did the natural stuff, right? So this little girl got super sick, got a fever, got super sick, and everything was natural. Everything was natural. They didn't want to take her to the doctor. She ended up dying.
Mm,
She ended up dying. So that's where I feel like the balance comes in. Of course, it's
right,
great to be
right,
natural and it's great to try. It's even great to try meds. And if that doesn't work, then find something natural if you can. But you have to find that balance. So for everybody to be like, no, 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 I'm all this, I'm all that, you have to know your balance of things.
right.
You have to know when is when and enough is enough. I mean, I've even done it with my kids. I don't like the doctor. I'll stay here and try to fix everything I possibly can, but like Amani had gotten so dehydrated when she was a baby and couldn't keep anything down. Had I not taken her to the doctor and get put it on an IV, who knows what, you know what I mean? Because I can only do so much. I can't make her keep liquids down. I can't keep things flowing through her body through her mouth if she keeps throwing them back up again, as a baby. So you have to be very careful. And I think
You,
not knowing is worse than knowing and trying to figure out a plan. Not
you
knowing
do.
and like if shit happens, it happens. And then you
I
get
agree.
there like fuck my life.
I agree. Because, like I said, we've always been the to handle stuff at home if we can. You know what I mean? Not running to, because when I was so, and I'll always talk about, I was so traumatized with my daughter because I lost my first daughter, that every time she had a sniffle, every time she was sick, she had a lot of ear,
Yeah.
nose, and throat infections. I would rush to the hospital. I would rush not to the hospital, but to her doctor. And her doctor would be like, he was a prescriber. Here goes some antibiotic. Give her this antibiotic. And then she built up a tolerance to the antibiotic. So the antibiotic didn't fucking work for her no more, you know? And so I had to learn in that way to some things you can just do at home, some things you can take care of. But I will tell you about a year ago, my daughter had started working at a pet store and she ended up contracting C. diff from cleaning up the pet cages.
Yeah.
And she was very sick. I mean, throwing up, diarrhea, all of that. And she was like that for a couple of days, trying to get her to keep liquids down and all that stuff. She could not. So it finally was, she was like, Mom, take me to the hospital. And I know if she says that, I know she means business because we don't go to the
Mhm.
hospital. You have that sixth sense, like, no, I need to go. Luckily, we did because had we been like, no, let me just give her some shit, she literally would have died because she was so dehydrated that her body was about to shut down. They could not find a vein. She was that
Yeah,
dehydrated. They couldn't find a vein,
that's the hardest part.
which was scary. And then unfortunately, she ended up getting MRSA in the hospital, and then she had to stay. She was in there for over a week, over the week in the hospital. So I think sometimes, as much as yes, our home remedies and everything that we do, because I feel like the biggest thing which I love about prevention is preventing you getting to that point of
Hmm.
the emergency, right? So if you're taking care of yourself on a daily, if you're doing better health, healthier lifestyle kind of things, you're going to be better off to fight the things. The biggest thing people get fucked up is they don't take care of their body. So when something hits you, your body shuts down because it can't take it. It can't. Your
Hmm.
immune system is low. There's a lot of things to it, right? So Anna, I would say, I'm not a doctor and I'm not, here to diagnose anybody on their health. But if you notice that you're going through this moment of your sugars being too high or you're out of whack, what's going on in your life? What can you kind of look at? What's changed? Because I do feel like our lifestyle, the people we're around, the energies, if we're stressed, I feel like that all is a factor in our day to day. So what has changed in your life of where things are out of whack? You always can put it all together if you look at it, but we're always looking for something else to be the cause. Well, maybe it's the food, maybe it's this, and I think there's more to it than just that. You guys know how I feel. I think there's these levels to it, but I think you got to kind of look at it and see. Not, I'm not a doctor and I'm not, I'm definitely not a MD on it, but I think if you're out of whack on any of your levels, maybe it's kind of think like what's changed right now, what's going on in my life right now, what's the biggest change. I've just noticed that in my own life of, what I mean, like when shit change or I'm stressing or if certain times of year it's just kind of like you get hit a different way. Yeah, see, I do think that I think at some point you may need, because it's not that I don't believe in doctors and I don't believe that they can do their job. They got MRI machines and shit. I think a lot of times you either have like two kinds of people. I think the people who run to the doctor for everything and run up all the services, and that's why healthcare is ridiculous on prices, right? Or you have the person who never goes until they need to be put on life support type shit. And then it's like fucking catastrophic event.
I'll have to
Mm.
sneeze.
Good morning, boo.
It is. I think, you got to take care of your body. Of course, that's the prevention, right? Doing your natural things, doing your yoga, doing your meditations,
Right,
healing, whatever it is, chakras, blah, 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 blah. That's the prevention, right? But when you know something's not right and it's
right,
just not right, go and figure that
right.
out, because now you have to
Mentor.
figure out what, right? Now you have to, because it would be beautiful, right? It would be beautiful if we could all go out to our garden, snap a couple herbs, and then boom, we're healthy again. But there is a science to life somehow, some way, some